Hello, welcome back to another Final Fantasy XIV news video with me, Meoni. The patch 7.4 special site went live today, the 27th of November 2025, and with that comes the first of many updates then to do with patch 7.4 with sneak previews of upcoming content. Of course, we have ourselves the official date listed on here, as well as the splash artwork for the promotional poster for the Arcadian for Into the Mist, which is patch 7.4's title. Of course, if you didn't know, patch 7.4 releases on the 16th of December. There is actually a live letter coming up on the 5th of December next week that we're going to be seeing some in-game footage for, so highly excited for that. I do like this new sort of artwork for this. I think it's really cool. It looks like a wrestling promotion for the Arcadian. Really excited to get stuck into that. It is one of the best raid series in the game, in my opinion. So what have they got on this special site? First of all, we have information on Into the Mist itself, the new MSQ. We've got some really cool pictures. It says the machinations of Calyx and preservation have been thwarted, releasing Alexandria from the throes of chaos. As the nation's people begin to move forward, so too must the Warrior of Light's companions, and for Kryl, this means turning to face the question that has trailed her like a second shadow through her once foreign homeland. So yeah, there's a lot to wrap up. They did say that they were promised to wrap up some of the loose ends, especially with Kryl, because the storyline kind of happened with Kryl without giving too much away, with some of her backstory, and of course we need to see more of that. So presumably, hopefully, we get more of that in this patch. And yeah, I'm very excited to explore other characters other than the ones we have been doing. This shot you probably remember from the live letter, part 89, with this blimp that appears in living memory. Obviously, after the events of 7.3, living memory is slightly different than you might remember. And, of course, this is what appears to be inside of a dome, hidden underneath Solution 9, perhaps? Or it's like a part of Alexandria, that world. I mean, a lot of people are saying that this looks like the Dark City Trino from Final Fantasy IX, and I have to admit, there are some incredible similarities with this. So presumably there'll be some Kryl backstory, probably with the Milala. It'll be interesting to see, really, and I really hope, if this is the case, that we have the Dark City Trino theme. It is my favourite piece of music, and probably my favourite place from Final Fantasy IX. And yeah, this definitely has those vibes. So we'll have to wait and see if we're correct or not. I don't see why we wouldn't be. It's a little bit on the nose. It does look like we're inside kind of like a Dalamud shell or something, though. There's definitely some Allagan sort of references here. I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see, isn't it? Look at that griffin on the top there, or lion. Chimera thing. Very interesting. And then there's this character which is sweating profusely with some kind of device. Yoshi P said on a live letter in this exact screenshot that they showed that this is a plot device essentially for what we're doing forwards for the next expansion. So presumably this holds the key, probably pun intended or non-intended, for the next storyline for 8.0. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Of course, we have ourselves a look at, basically other characters involved in this. There is a Lalafell character that appears to be a native, these two characters. And yeah, we've got the Scions joining us with yeah, some interesting bits there. So this is obviously a dungeon. Kryl's going to be probably one of the trust members. It wouldn't surprise me if you get extra dialogue for running it with her. So that's probably what I will do the first time I do this duty. And it just looks amazing, isn't it? Absolutely amazing with these little light sconces on the side of the buildings. Kind of got that dark city vibe. I'd be very surprised if the Trino theme didn't just pipe in when you went in there. Very cool stuff, and yeah, I cannot wait for that. So for the new challenges section, of course, we've got a couple of images for the Arcadian Heavyweight Division that debuts in patch 7.4. Remember that the Savage mode doesn't unlock until January, so you've got a few weeks basically to enjoy the holiday season without having to do Savage, which is a very nice conscious decision. It says, with the Cruiserweight division conquered, the unstoppable upstart now rises into the fearsome heights of the heavyweight tier. The threat of psychochronosis, if I could ever pronounce that properly, ever looms. And to claim its cure, you must seize the Grand Champion's crown and make your rightful ascension. So this is a wrap-up of the storyline that has obviously been here since the light heavyweight tier. Absolutely in love with this raid tier. Loved every minute of the storyline. The fights are exceptional, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with the other fighters. One of which is this red-headed Elizon. Obviously, they have like bestial modes, so it'll be interesting to speculate what she turns into, but she looks pretty cute. And, of course, we've got this Elizon man here looking down. He probably is giving heavyweight champion vibes, to be perfectly honest. But if you were to go back up to the top of the screen, on the actual patch artwork here, you can see the characters involved. You'll notice that Brute Bomber, unfortunately, is also on this picture. So does that mean that Brute Bomber is going to be one of the fights? I really hope we don't have a third Brute Bomber situation, but I also at the same time I wouldn't mind. There's a couple of new characters, 3 new characters as you can see, but there's like a missing 4th, so they've either omitted the 4th challenger or it's Brute Bomber again, which is quite entertaining, I think you'll agree. So looking forward to that. The new dungeon then is Mistwake, and there's a few pictures here. It says, add adventures past, make way for journeys anew. The Warrior of Light, Kryl, and their companions descend to a long-lost land shrouded in mist and mystery. So if we look at these pictures, there's some really cool stuff going on. So this is kind of like your underground area. It looks very reminiscent of some sort of mine shafts leading towards a city or a hidden area, which presumably is the run-up to the big domed area that we saw, the big cityscape. Maybe that's Trino. And this is like a big reactor. It honestly looks to me more like a Fallout vault. It feels to me like we've uncovered tunnels underground and we've followed this to like a big Fallout style vault that's, that sealed away these people, and so they can't get out and get in. Very Fallout style. And it wouldn't surprise me if that was exactly what we're looking at. Originally, I thought this was like a boring machine or something, but it definitely looks like a vault door, doesn't it? Maybe that's just because I'm super hyped for the next season of the Fallout TV show. I don't know. But it definitely has those vibes. And then, of course, the rest of the dungeon appears to be inside of a dome. So that's what gives me that idea. It looks absolutely gorgeous. If this isn't the Dark City Trino, I don't know what it is. It's absolutely gorgeous. We have ourselves a boss here, which I, for the life of me, cannot remember what that is. I'm sure if I was to compare this with some Final Fantasy IX sprites side by side, I'd immediately know what this is. But I can't for the life of me think about it. Also previewing some gear here, and that's the actual new dungeon gear. And I have to say, they definitely cooked with this one. I really like this gear. It has reminiscence of all sorts of different stuff, like the veils specifically. I'm getting Nier vibes from that. I'm also getting some previous sort of Thavnerian vibes from that, but I absolutely love these armor sets. There's not many times where I go, oh wow, I need to do that dungeon for the armor sets, especially in Dawntrail. It seems to have been not lacking, but there are less that I personally like. This is my vibe, man. Like, I love these. So obviously you've got the different variations for the roles. Remember, in patch 7.4, you can look at any of these, and no longer do we have to go, oh, I really wish that they gave the caster one the melee one because it looks better. You don't have to care about that anymore because you can just pick up the gear, and the role and level restrictions, at least for glamoring, will be removed. You, of course, still need to have the stats if you want to equip the actual item for your character. You need to be scouting for scouting, etc. But you will be able to use any of these pieces of gear for glamour on a glamour plate, presumably for whatever. So you can be a caster with scouting, etc., fending with healing gear. So very excited about, collecting all of those. I always do anyway. It's a process. For some reason, I have a bit of OCD where I collect all of the armor pieces I come across and then regret throwing one away later. But yeah, there's some really lovely outfits here, especially like this chest piece with like the exposed chest there, like with the belly button, all-seeing eye on the belt there. There's some really nice bits. I'd love to mix and match these. I don't know what you think about them, but I think these are absolutely gorgeous. And yeah, they've definitely made an armor set that I want from a dungeon. But yeah, looking really cool. Cannot wait to get straight into that storyline. It's going to be amazing. Then, of course, as part of that storyline, we have Hell on Rails, which, of course, is Dawntrail. It says, with a crack like thunder and hellacious howl of metal, an unholy locomotive hurtles down the tracks, and only the Warrior of Light stands in its way. We've got some beautiful pictures here. Of course, you might remember these from the live letter, the first one especially, with Dawntrail effectively roaring across what appears to be well, it could be inside the actual instance. It kind of gives me the further intonation that we're going underneath the Solution 9 area because of where this picture is taken, but that could be a bit of a throwaway. I don't know if that is, if that is indeed that zone that we're going to, but oh yeah, I can't wait for that. Dawntrail is awesome. Just suddenly Final Fantasy VIII vibes. More of it, please. And then there's a picture of what the actual fight will look like, which is something we didn't get the context for before, and I'm sure they'll probably preview this in the live letter on the 5th of December, looking at patch 7.4, with Dawntrail attacking a carriage. So very much like the Phantom Train. I can imagine it's probably the same kind of fight. Honestly, I love the Phantom Train fight, so I would love to see another fight like that, and it looks like we're getting that. Looks like there are AoEs that you have to avoid, line AoEs coming from the side of a screen, as well as other attacks and things, and there seems to be shipping crates, so presumably these things move around, maybe when it shunts. That's my speculation for that, but there's very little else you can take from this picture other than expect lots of lightning ether and Dawntrail attacks. I can't wait to see that in action. Super happy about that one. And then, of course, we have Tsukiyomi's Pain Unreal. We've got a little slide here for that. That's the next Unreal trial that's coming in patch 7.4. It says, the foe commander is in the mood for a tale that evokes intense pathos, which prompts you to recall the torment you that defined Yotsuyu's life, and your memories of the tragic figure unfold in your mind's eye. You find yourself confronting her once more as the primal Tsukiyomi, majestic as the moon and inevitable as the night. Oh, it's going to be a long night. I can't wait for this one. Tsukiyomi is one of my favorite bosses from Stormblood. I think it was such a fantastic storyline leading up to her reveal. And just that the torment does not do it justice with how much she went through. So, and it's a cool fight, honestly. I will definitely be doing that. Presumably there'll be new foe hollows rewards as well. So that's why you would want to do that. And then additionally at the bottom, just for this initial 7.4 special site debut, they have a bit of reiteration about some of the features. Obviously, new main scenario for Into the Mist, the Arcadian Heavyweight, variant dungeon The Merchant's Tale, which is something we talked about before, which is a storybook that you get sucked into, which I'm really looking forward to. There's the new dungeon, new trial, there's a new Unreal, obviously. The new frontline campaign, which is Warcore Shirte, I don't know how to pronounce that, which apparently has different sort of frontline area effects depending on weather conditions. I think that's what they said on the live letter, so excited to see that. A new map is always good. The Occult Crescent gets updated. You've got your weapon enhancement quest with your phantom weapons going up even further. You've got more Hildebrand in 7.4. You've got the new Air Force one for the Cialdales, which is flying over like Hullbreaker Isle, that kind of area in Air Force One. So that's a new gate event. So you can presume that there are new Gold Saucer rewards to collect. Hopefully a new mount, right? I personally need something to spend MGP on. I can get it very easily, but spending it very difficult. And then, of course, we've got new cosmic exploration in the form of a new planet, Aussies. And with that comes new tool enhancement quests for cosmic tools. We've got the strategy board system, so people don't have to tab out the game so much to learn fights and share those in the game. We've got the command panel, which allows us to quick slot different actions or, food buffs, things like that, onto a panel that you can toggle on and off, which is really nice to save UI space. We have the glamour update, which is the biggest thing for me, which obviously makes it so that you can glamour whatever you like to whatever you like, armor-wise, with no level restrictions and no role restrictions on glamour for that gear, including new stuff. I'm not sure how much is in the patch, but presume all of it because they haven't mentioned any limitations yet. And then, of course, we've got new Allegan Tomestones of Mnemonics. We have new crafting recipes, new crafted gear, new mounts, minions, emotes, the additional duty support, which covers Desmal, Darkhold, and Aurum Vale. Looking forward to seeing how those are different. And we've got new theme settings for the UI and much more, like they say. They say some content will be made available via patch updates at a later date. Yeah, I mean, it's likely Hildebrand will be on a subsequent patch. There's no way that all of this is coming out with 7.4's release date, obviously, but there is a good amount of things that you could see on this page that are. If you want to go to the link in the description, you can get to this area, and if you go to the media section, you can get some of these cool pictures, including the artwork, which personally is something I want to get because it's such a beautiful piece of artwork, that promotional poster, and any of the other pictures featured in this video. But 7.4 is looking like one heck of a patch or patch cycle of mini patches, and I couldn't be happier. Yeah, very excited to get more of Kryle's backstory, the Dark City Trino, if it is that. Super excited about that as a Final Fantasy IX mega fan. We've got the new Arcadian storyline, new trials. It's looking good. It's looking very good for a 7.4 patch. Very, very excited. Anyway, let me know what you're most excited for. Personally, I think the new dungeon gear has definitely surprised me. I didn't expect it to look as good as this. Let me know what you think. Have a fantastic day. More videos on the way, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.